Howdy, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Connor Reads Books and another installment of author interviews. Today we are talking to David Dean Haskell, a prolific sci-fi writer, drumline teacher extraordinaire, and also just a really cool dude. I had a great time talking with David Dean Haskell today about his new release, The Solarian Deep, and about upcoming works, The Vibrance, as well as just his writing history. We talk about his experience growing his social media presence, and I think this is an awesome episode for any writer who is looking to expand their sort of network and gain some more visibility. So without any further ado, enjoy this author interview. Howdy, folks, and welcome to Connor Reads Books and another installment of author interviews. Joining me today via virtual meeting is David Dean Haskell, a sci-fi author, memoir writer, and drumline teacher extraordinaire. Today we are talking about David's approach to writing, his journey as an author, and then we'll discuss his new release, The Solarian Deep, which Connor Reads Books will be doing a chapter read for in the next couple of weeks. So, with all that being said, it is my pleasure to introduce to the show fantasy fiction author David Dean Haskell. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Connor. Thank you so much for having me. And just hearing you talk about the upcoming readings it got me excited because I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with that. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I'm just excited. Yeah, I'm glad to be here, man.
Great. And I'm glad to have you. I'm very excited to have you. I'm really excited that we get to share a chapter of your book, The Solarian Deep. I have been able to read through it these past couple weeks. Full disclosure, I haven't finished it, but I've gotten a nice way through, and it's a really fun read. But let's start at the beginning. So when did you first know that writing was a medium for you?
Okay. And it's interesting. You also mentioned the drum thing, which to me, so many people have asked me about this too. So connection, creativity, and being heard and being understood is what I am trying to do, right?
Yeah.
So it started with music. It started with drums. I had a rough time as a kid making friends.
Yeah.
And then I was given piano lessons and I had some talent for that. And like all of a sudden I, could get the bullies off my back for a few days by playing piano and, Haskell's a pretty good piano player, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I fell into the drums, which I loved even more. And again, being on stage or kind of showing that stuff off, got me some connection, and so for me, music has always been a connection thing. This is where my heart is. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I think. Yeah. So the writing didn't come as early. I was doing music, age 11, 12, something like that.
Nice.
I didn't really write until college. I took a creative writing class, and that was the first time it was like, oh, I don't have to follow a bunch of boring rules, and you don't have to be some sort of a whatever, a novel degree holder to write stuff. Totally. So I had fun with that. And like, I was kind of like trying to shock the class. I wrote something about an acid trip and some other thing. And just to see reactions, and I got reactions. It was like, I was being heard. It was like, you said what? And then people react. Yeah. So, not much came out of that for a while because I never really had this idea that I would want to pursue it as a career with the agent and the publicist and the agency and all that garbage. Right.
Yeah.
And then the Kindle revolution hit. And this was around the early teens, like 2011, 12, 13, right?
Right, yeah.
All of a sudden, everything on the internet was like, you can write a book and make a fortune,
Yeah.
It was like, oh, cool, I'll write a book and make a fortune, right? And so, but I was in it, And the thing is, my first 4 books they're for sale. I did a second edition on 2 of them, and I'm going to revisit the other 2 as well quite recently to polish them up because I wrote them between 2013 to 2019.
Right.
I'm proud of them, but it's early work, right? And so like, I put it out, thought I was going to have overnight success. That ain't how it works. So then I put out another book and another. And when I finally put out my 4th one, which was Emergence, which is the one you can get it for free on my website if you want to read that. Yeah. It was my best early work, but I had kind of given up on any fast success. I was in 5 or 6 years, and now I was just sort of like becoming a good writer.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so, that's kind of the beginnings of it. At first it was like, I'll just try this out, see what I can do with it. But I realized it became another form of expression. And now I write nonfiction and fiction, and it's all about these connections, yeah, and how I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really nice answer. I feel like that is fairly unique for some of the folks that I see coming through the Connor Reads Books doors is
Okay.
kind of that expression as a form of connection and sharing really what you're feeling inside in order to connect with other people. And I mean, I think
Mm.
that's a really compelling reason to begin writing or to begin art at all. I mean,
Hmm.
connection is one of the most important things. I mean, we're social creatures. We need connection, and it's important to feel like you're connected and understood. And so
Yeah.
that's really cool that's like a form of expression that you use to connect and I'm just going to be redundant and say make more connections. So
Hmm.
yeah.
No, absolutely. And again, I think the nonfiction came later, inner child and trauma healing,
Yeah,
which that's real. That forms really quick connections when people can relate to that. It's like, oh, I understand that too. But even
absolutely.
I've always written sci-fi and future stuff,
Yeah,
and so I think it's like I'm trying to, okay, this is what I think might happen, or what I fear might happen, or what I
right.
hope might happen. So let's talk about, you know what I mean? That's,
Yeah,
I write about the past. This is what happened, and it sucked, or or it was okay, or
yeah,
whatever. And then here's my future idea. And so to me, it's
yeah.
kind of a continuum of connection too. So.
Yeah, no, I really like that. I think that was well
Mm.
stated, and yeah, that rings a bell for me as I was kind of looking through some of your work. And I'm sorry I don't remember the name of the book, but I remember it was one of your early writings, and it was about kind of like a corporation that was taking like everyone's data and kind of being like a mass surveillance, uh, you know, state.
Yeah,
And I was like. And I think that was published back in like 2012. And I was like, wow,
that was my
man.
first book. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
man, you saw the writing on the wall. So,
Oh my God, yeah.
yeah,
It's funny. Well, yeah, it's too much information. That was my first book.
yeah,
And the
that's,
thing about that book was I did get a lot of stuff right, but also
yeah,
things got way worse than I imagined. Because
yeah,
it focused on airport technology and
yeah,
like security overreach, but
yeah,
also like the machines got so sophisticated they could tell like people's health. And that's where the story starts, is like one of the security people, Rosa, was
yeah,
noticed that somebody had cancer because she used to be a nurse, and
right.
but she wasn't allowed to disclose information, too much
Yeah,
information, right? All this info is
yeah,
out there, everybody knows everything, and then you don't say it's. And anyway, it's turned
yeah,
into very very much a prediction of the future. Now it's like Jules Verne or something. It's like, oh no,
yeah,
it's way worse. I've been
yeah,
going through airports the last couple of years, and it's like, oh my God, some of that security theater that they do there is, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty
Hmm.
it's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're kind of brushing up on this idea, but that sounds like a good segue to my next question, which is like what other works or I guess real life events would you say have inspired your writing the most?
Um, well, my nonfiction is my life, so that's
Okay.
easy. But fiction wise, real life events, maybe not so much. But I've been a sci-fi guy ever. I was a Star Wars kid. I
Yeah.
saw every movie in the theater. That indicates my age.
Yeah.
I grew up with that, Star Trek, and then even reading wise too, I was into the sci-fi books. That's all I cared about. So I was into the
Yeah.
classics, like Isaac Asimov is a big one for me.
Okay.
Arthur C. Clarke is a big one for me. So,
Nice.
I've always gravitated towards it. And also Michael Crichton. And
Okay.
I got a great story about Michael Crichton, actually.
Yeah,
And this
lay it
is
on
this
us.
for everybody who ever struggled in class. This is your story. Biology class, ninth grade. I was failing. I hated it. They made us dissect fetal pigs and stuff. It was disgusting. And I hated the
Yeah.
teacher.
Yeah.
Failing. I was getting an F the whole time.
Yeah.
He assigned Michael Crichton's book, The Andromeda Strain, which is actually a sci-fi. It's not, so why this should be in a biology class, I don't know. He just liked Michael
Right.
Crichton.
Yeah.
And I put it off for like a month. He gave us a month to read it.
Yeah.
Finally, the last weekend before the test, give it a try. And I read the
Right.
first chapter and laid down on the couch, second chapter, third chapter, and I just devoured the book. It was the
Yeah.
first I'd ever, and it was before Michael Crichton was really well known. I don't even know if he'd written Jurassic Park.
Oh, okay.
So, and anyway, we took the test. Nobody else in the class could even read it. even the smart ones.
Wow.
I got an A. I got 100% on the test. Everybody else failed it.
Nice.
I was like, so that's, you can see I had some connection to that type of like,
Yeah.
Michael Crichton was amazing. He's another big influence. So
awesome. That's a great story. I love that.
Oh yeah.
So I guess my next question is, what is your writing process like? Are you a little bit more discovery? Are you a little bit more framework? Yeah.
My writing process is horrible. I don't recommend it to anybody. I struggle with it. I have undiagnosed ADHD. I don't write every day. I can't. I write in bursts. And I'm in the middle of a book that I really love now. I'm writing a book called The Vibrance. It's the best thing I've ever written, and it'll be out in a few months.
Oh, that's awesome.
And there's some pieces that I'm still writing, and it's just like, why can't I just do it? But I get it. Either I can do like the business stuff.
Yeah.
And like, okay, I fixed my website. Okay, now my podcasting mic is working. Now I'm also audio voicing my own memoir. I wouldn't dare audio voice my own fiction, but I'll do my own nonfiction, right?
Yeah.
So all these projects are going on, one man band doing the the indie publishing thing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I got to write some fiction. I need to write some,
Yeah.
So, I that's my process,
Yeah.
But one thing I would say is I write, game changer here. I write voice to text. I don't type it.
Okay.
And man, does that make the writing flow better, and it makes the dialogue more natural.
Yeah.
And this is not to poke the bee's nest, right? But
Sure.
I use GPT to do that. But I have a specific prompt, which is handle the punctuation and paragraph breaks only. Do not tamper with the text.
Nice.
And then I just dictate, right? That way it doesn't change a word, because you have to be careful. Because if you just voice to text on GPT, it'll change everything.
Yeah.
Which is the danger.
Yeah.
I don't let my books be written by AI, but I'm happy to use their voice to text because it's the best voice to text technology.
Yeah.
And so there you go. I use voice to text to do drafting.
Yeah.
And then I edit with a keyboard. And I've been able to write a lot. I mean, if anybody's looking to do some creative writing, and they just want to write, and you can do it so much faster. Yeah. You can grab your phone and talk for 2 minutes, and it's all out there in print, and you can see it. It's a beautiful game changer for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like 4 thoughts just collided in my brain at once as you're saying this. It's like, I feel very similarly, like in terms of like writing and speaking. So like when I journal, I audio journal rather than write, because it allows me to just kind of stream of consciousness a little bit more, and that works really well. And then to your point about the speed of getting things done, I think it's like one of the statistics for audiobook narration is you can get about 9,000 words said in an hour on average.
Okay.
So that's pretty quick, to be able to speak 9,000 words right then and there if you got the words to speak, so that makes a lot of sense. And one last thought I wanted to throw in there is a little anecdote. One of the first books I ever narrated, it's a book called Haunted Hawaii, and it is a story or a collection of stories written by a native Hawaiian islander who shares some of his personal like ghost stories and some of like the cultural stories of Hawaii and kind of the spirits there. And the author did speech to text. And I think part of the problem was is that words do get changed. And so there were proper nouns that I didn't know what to do with. So it took a little bit of like extra finessing and research to like, for instance, there's a night called Po Kane, which is like the night when the spirits walk, descend from the mountains, and you can see their ghostly torches. And because of the speech to text, it was the night of Pole Kane. And I was like, who is Pole Kane? This doesn't make any sense. I thought this was a night about spirits, not about a stripper, maybe. I don't know. So.
Oh, man. That's the most big... First of all, my name, David Dean Haskell, is spelled with an E. Yeah. So it's constantly misspelling my middle name. And
Yeah.
then another one is the book, The Vibrants, which is Vibrants. This is a group of people called
Yes.
Vibrant creators. It's a
Yes.
future creativity thing. There's Vibrants, and
Yeah.
then Resonance. The Resonance are AI. The Vibrants are human. So
Yeah.
the book is called The Vibrants. And
Yeah.
every time it comes out, Vibrance, Vibrance.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, that's not the name of the book. It's like, why can't you learn? Why won't you learn?
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
so much for the brilliant AI, but for the brilliant voice to text. Even it's
Yeah.
is what it is. But I mean, still amazing. But yeah,
It's true.
good job on that challenge, by the way.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hawaiian
Yeah.
words. Wow. Hmm.
It was a bit of one. And every tool is going to have its ups and downs, right? So that's
Hmm.
just how it kind of goes. So I guess I want to kind of segue somewhat of a similar question, but maybe a little bit different. So again, as I was kind of looking over some of your websites like Goodreads and stuff, I noticed that you mentioned you had like a 5-year period of writer's block from like 2020 to
Oh yeah.
2025, and that
Yep.
it felt as though it's really necessary for you to do some inner reflection and healing before you were able to like get back on the writing train. And I guess I wanted to know, like, kind of thinking again about your writing processes or how you approach writing, like, how did it change in that time? Like, what's the biggest difference writing now than writing then?
Yeah. Yeah. So just to be specific, it was
Of course.
2019 to 2024. And the
Gotcha.
reason I mentioned that is because my last book was published in 2019. So I was able to finish it up in 2018 and then just fell off.
Yeah.
Part of it was discouragement because I'd published 4 books and really hadn't gotten anywhere. But there was also, I mean, that was a period of spiritual and emotional healing for me. And I
Totally.
think all my creative and emotional and heart and everything, the energies were going into that. And I
Yeah.
was trying to write. I was really trying. I was like,
Yeah.
should I quit? Should I give up? Should I,
Right.
go back to music or something else? I'm trying here,
Yeah.
but nothing's coming out. Except like journaling. I did journaling,
Yeah.
but it just the floodgates just sort of reopened at the beginning of 2024, and it was incredibly different. Like my
Yeah.
writing now is incredibly different. It's the characters are a lot deeper for one thing. In the Solarian Deep, the
Yeah.
characters have a lot more depth, I
Yeah.
think, than my previous books. And even as I wrote that too, because I wrote it in serialized. I know we'll talk about it as we go forward, but I wrote
Yeah.
it just as a kind of a not side project, but like an easy re-entry
Right.
because it was
Yeah.
2024. I was like, I'll just do serialized. I started on Royal Road and then I moved it to Substack. But as I was writing it, it started evolving and it got, a lot of deep themes into it.
Yeah.
And so that alone was a lot different. And then, of course, I started writing nonfiction, which I did not want to do. I
Yeah.
was like, oh man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do self help. I don't want to do, I don't want to talk about the stuff that went down and somebody might
Yeah.
judge me. Somebody might
Yeah.
actually see me, which is
Right.
actually true whether you write whatever you write.
Yeah.
But when you're writing fiction, you can kind of hide behind the characters a little bit and just be like,
Yeah.
no, I didn't want to punch her in the face. My character did. It's like,
Yeah.
well, you wrote it though, but there's a lot of leeway for fiction, which is nice because then you can really express what you want. But I feel held back sometimes. Like
Yeah.
you see Stephen King and some of those other writers that will write a racist character, for example, who
Yeah.
says all kinds of things that like you
Yeah.
could only get away with in fiction.
Yeah.
And then I think, well, we know are people going to think I'm a racist if I write a racist character?
Right. Yeah.
And so I do feel still constricted. But I'm trying to open it up. And I think the more
Yeah.
that I expose myself, the more I'm vulnerable.
Yeah.
It will get to that point. And it's always evolving. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was a big, there's definitely, if I ever get important enough to look at, people will probably look at, this is the early phase, this is the middle phase, and, not to, I
Right.
don't want to sound egotistical because that's the kind of thing in music history class, we look at the early phase of Beethoven and then these things
Right.
happen. And then there was the middle phase,
Yeah.
I don't want to say that about myself, but yeah.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. And
Hmm.
yeah, and I think I'm sorry, my brain just farted so hard. Wow. Yeah. I'm sorry. Give me one sec to collect my thoughts here. This is why. This is why I do the editing. For
Oh
these
no,
moments.
you got to leave it in, man.
Oh, I gotta leave it
You got to
in?
leave it in. You got to leave it
Okay.
in. No, no, I'll tell you, I gotta, if you look at my Substack, you'll
Yeah.
see this guy, a really nice guy,
Yeah.
whose name escapes me at the moment. I've done like 15 podcasts. I feel bad. But anyway,
Yeah.
he generously allowed me to put it
Yeah.
on Substack, but he gave me the whole raw file. And the
Yeah.
very beginning of it is like, oh, hang on while I collect my things. And, thankfully
Yeah.
we can cut this out. And we were kidding about that for about a minute. And I
Yeah.
just stuck it up there. And I hope he's not mad at me because I don't know if he saw it or what. But I was like, that's so real, right?
Yeah,
It's all
absolutely.
good. But anyway, I'm not telling you how to edit your stuff, but
It's
I kind of
fine.
like this stuff. To me, it's just, this is real life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To your like kind of like what you're saying, like these like having these mistakes and these stumbles, like it's very human and it can be very endearing to let people
Hmm.
see you in that way where it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, you see how I might stumble and then you see how I like recover from that. Um
Hmm.
so I totally see that. Yeah, I guess I am going to continue to struggle because I want to kind of ask a follow-up question. You know, um, what? I think I'm just going to let that one swim away. I'm gonna let
Okay.
that line of thought swim away. But while we're
Hmm.
talking about swimming, let's talk about the Solarian Deep.
All
So,
right.
what was your main inspiration for the Solarian Deep?
Um, it changed as I wrote it. So
Okay.
I don't know about inspiration in terms of like writer or book or story or anything like that, but I
Yeah.
did want to write something, even know how to categorize it now, because I know it
Yeah.
could be seen as young adult fantasy, that kind of thing. But actually, the
Right.
more I look at it, I am pretty insistent that it's all science fiction possible.
Yeah.
'Cause I believe this. There's evolution in it. There's
Yeah.
telepathy in it.
Yeah.
There is, technological evolution in it, and it is
Right.
Earth, it is humans, and it is
Yeah.
the dystopian distant future. But that's just how I could set it undersea.
Right.
But in the beginning, I was just like, I'm going to write a fun mermaid book, or a
Yeah.
fun mermaid story,
Yeah.
So that was the inspiration at first, was to do something lighter and
Right.
kind of chill, because my first four books, they all feel kind of they're heavy topics for me.
Yeah.
One was the second book that I wrote, The Gold Club. That was all about my resentment towards Amazon for,
Yeah.
like, for the way that they manipulate you and whatever, and they don't pay you
Yeah.
enough and all this stuff. And like, so the
Absolutely.
book is like kind of like how to screw over the big corporation.
Yeah.
Another, there was a big heavy book on AI coming of age evolution stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
There was a disaster book. The third book, The Dark Alignment,
Yeah.
is what it apocalyptic book. Basically the
Yeah.
world's falling apart.
Right.
So yeah, as I was getting back into the game, I wanted to do something lighthearted. But the Solarian Deep really, and I want to hear from others who read it, because to me, I think there are themes in there related to LGBTQ
Yeah.
and the transformation kind of stuff,
Right.
societal expectations and how you're supposed to be, and do this,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Right.
Rich and poor, the divide between rich and poor, the us and the others. You
Yeah.
know, there's a war going on in there, and there's, we don't trust them, they're different. There's a lot of that, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, this, has a lot to do with what I was watching on the news all the time that I was reading, that I was writing this, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of the world we're living in these days. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think the inspiration changed over time, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Totally. No, great answer. And I guess, I have a thought here where it's like, or maybe my next question, almost even like simplifying more, is like, what brought the story like under the sea? Like, how did you, like, what made you choose mermaids? And were they
Hmm.
intended to be like technologic mermaids at the beginning, or like, how did that evolve?
Yeah. At the beginning, it was just a technological kind of mermaid thing.
Yeah.
Um, it was, again, I was looking at stories that people were interested in and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I think at the time, this is a few years ago,
Yeah.
but the werewolf thing was a big thing,
Yeah.
right? And fantasy in general, I think I was kind of trying to steer in that direction a little bit, but it
Right.
turned out I'm just a sci-fi guy. I'm
Hey.
like, if you wave a wand and something happens, that doesn't work for my writing. But if you explain how the nanotechnology made that happen,
Right.
then because I mean, you look, and in a way, if you look at science, and I'm I'm not a math guy. I'm not a
Right.
physicist. I know nothing about that stuff except what I make up in my head. But
Right.
some of that stuff is just mind blowing. The whole spooky action at a distance thing, where
Yeah.
like a photon on Earth and a photon in a galaxy next door
Yeah.
behave at the same time. Like
Yeah.
they're somehow intertwined. How does
Right.
that make sense? That's magic,
Yeah.
right? That's a scientific fact. I don't want to say fact. That's their best theory at the moment
Right.
of what's going on. Like theoretically, there's a very outside possibility that you and I could vanish right now and reappear on Mars, whole.
That would be
Every
wild.
atom in our bodies. This is you could like prove that out scientifically, mathematically.
Yeah.
So, there is no magic in a way. It's
In a
like, and I'm
way.
a very spiritual guy too. So I kind of
Yeah.
tend to think along those lines.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, at the time I think I was, mermaids and werewolves, no, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was kind of looking towards the paranormal
Yeah.
fantasy stuff because it was kind of hot at the
Yeah.
time. But then, so there you go. I was trying to follow the trend.
Yeah.
And I ended up just doing my thing
that's-
as usual, So.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's a great way to go about it, I think there's a lot to say there again about kind of showing more of like who you are on the inside, right? Like you're not trying to force yourself into the werewolf box. There was also another genre of story of selkies, which are kind of like werewolves, but they're seals.
Okay.
So like, yeah, people who can like transform into seals. Anyway, I guess it's just to say like, I can really appreciate how there's that level of taking a trend, but also making it like so your own, and
Yeah, totally.
yeah, absolutely. And I guess to the point of like sciences. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you going to say something?
Oh no, sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. This conversation's great because I keep having all these different thoughts on this. The one thing about that is, for whatever reason, I'm not into shapeshifters. Right? I got so upset. Let me tell you. I'll tell you. One of the things that annoyed me the most about Star Wars was when they had a shapeshifter in Episode 2. Because like that's not Star Wars, I can accept the Force, I can accept the magical beings, I can accept all this Star Wars stuff. I'm a total Star Wars guy, but no, not a shapeshifter. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that shouldn't exist in a Star Wars universe. It's not realistic, right? So I don't know. That's my own issue, I guess. So maybe I should force myself to write a short story on shapeshifters and see what comes out.
Maybe you could try to take the scientific lens on it, right? And And even, thinking about that idea of like science and magic, right? It's like almost, gosh, I just had an interview with another author, Drew Harrison, and he mentioned this one like writer's law, and I'm totally blanking at the moment, except for like what the rule is, which is any sort of technology that is sufficiently beyond someone's grasp is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah.
Sure. And to the point of like spirituality and stuff, and we look at all these like physical sciences, you keep whittling down, and there keeps being more questions, and there keeps being more things like, wait, how does that make sense? Like in a way there is this very tangible physical thing, and then there's also just like the ineffable mystery of it all. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And like a thought that just crossed my mind. I've got this cool little speaker.
Yeah.
No wires, no nothing. If we took this back a couple thousand years, and showed it to a musician, even if we played their music on it, they would freak out and they'd be like, what devilry is this?
Exactly.
Where are the instruments?
Exactly.
Did you shrink the instruments down? And
exactly.
And I mean, that's, so, but another thing, and that, I love that rule too. Anything sufficiently sophisticated is indistinguishable from magic or spiritual, like the God thing too. You talk about the Isaac Asimov's story, The Last Question, 10 pages long or so, tells you the whole history of the universe and the next universe. It's an amazing story. I recommend it to anybody. Isaac Asimov, The Last Question.
Okay.
Talks about God and what it means. And it's really, really amazing. And so all that. And I also have a rule, which I never follow, which are there are no rules, which is there are no rules, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm not even following my own thing because like, you're right. Shapeshifting could definitely be it must be a hang. Maybe I need to do some inner child work on it and find
Yeah.
out why I'm so against that stuff. So,
Yeah. Fair enough.
hmm.
And I guess so my next question I have for you, I feel like we've kind of been skirting along this topic. Um, you know, but one of the questions is like, why the genre sci-fi? What draws you to it? And I guess maybe I like asking two-parters. Next part is, what about the genre allows you to tell the stories you want to tell?
Hmm. Um, well, first off, I'd quote Stephen King because somebody asked him a similar question. He said, "What makes you think that I have any choice in what
Yeah.
I write?" I kind of feel like that because, like as I said,
Yeah.
I was trying to steer the Solarian Deep towards something that it never ended up being.
Right.
And the other thing that occurred to me from the last round was that actually Solarian Deep involves shapeshifting.
Yeah.
So I've broken my own rule in there. So maybe I don't like
Yeah.
land shapeshifters. But
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, I don't know, but I've always been a sci-fi guy, as I
Of
said. So
course.
like, I
Yeah.
grew up with that stuff. So to
Totally.
me, it's what I read, so it's what I write.
Yeah.
And TV wise, if I wrote a screenplay, it'd probably be a sci-fi thing.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, I keep trying to figure my own self out
Yeah.
because like I'm trying to write my bio and all this stuff. And it's like, he
Yeah.
writes, visionary, hopeful future. But the
Yeah.
thing is, the vibrance I think is like that, but there's a lot of nastiness in there too.
Yeah.
The Solarian Deep is post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
A lot of my stuff is kind of dark and kind of like the little guy versus the big nasty
Yeah.
machine, corporation, government, all
Yeah.
that stuff. And I also my short stories, which are on my Substack, are mostly like like kind of like horror or something.
Yeah.
Like there, like a lot of bad things happen in my short stories. Like there's like
Yeah.
nasty addictions where people die, or like somebody
Yeah.
gets killed in Hanoi. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well that's not sci-fi,
Yeah.
So I don't even know. I can't even say. And so it's weird. I'm
Yeah.
steering people to my Substack, and then I'm realizing, well, that's a whole different. So it is what it is, and I don't
Yeah.
know. I definitely don't want to prevent myself from writing anything. Like I don't want
Yeah.
to say that I write this or that. And
Totally.
yeah, but I know it makes it tough to market. It makes it tough to get people to follow along because and me too. I like a consistent. Like when I read the first Michael Crichton,
Yeah.
and then I read the next Michael Crichton. It wasn't the same book, but it was the same like vibe,
Yeah.
right? And I knew that I was going to get some technological stuff and whatnot. So
Yeah, totally. I
yeah.
think that's a totally fair answer too. Like I understand where it's just like there is just something that it just inherent, like just like you said, that quote is like, what makes you think I have any choice? Like I can totally understand that. And like, I like the genre, I like the horror genre. I also like the macabre. I like fantasy. I like a lot of just fiction, and it's just what about it exactly? I'm not sure because I also like one could say it is escapism from this world with its, beauty and abhorrence
Mm.
simultaneously. But the kind of stuff I like to read still contains that kind of stuff, So it's a way of escaping, but somehow I'm not escaping. I'm just sort of finding a different way of digesting both. Oh, pardon me, microphone. Digesting both like dark themes and a bit of fantasy where the world can be what you want to make it. Um,
Mm.
yeah. Um,
Absolutely. I also escapism. I do think that's part of it, but I think it's also processing.
yeah.
Like trying to figure things out, and that's whether we're reading or writing or expressing ourselves in different ways.
Yeah.
You might say escape. You could say escaping if I go to a jazz concert, but I don't know. As
Yeah.
a musician, maybe I'm processing, and
Yeah.
even if I'm not, maybe I'm just like feeling my feelings at this jazz concert, and it's
Yeah.
not really escaping. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's all part of the same thing, I think.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. That's a good thought. And I don't have much to say on beyond that, but it's definitely one that I think I'll hold on to and think about. That's interesting.
Maybe, or maybe it was just me being weird. I don't know. I
Who
can't say.
knows?
Yeah.
But it's okay. I like being weird. I'm a little weird too. So, uh, I was looking through like your websites and stuff. I was looking at your social media and I noticed that one of your videos, you said that you wanted to very intentionally kind of put yourself on some social media, make some more connections with
Mhm.
folk, and that was also a kind of scary thing to do. And I
Mhm.
guess my question for you is, what has your experience been generating a larger online presence?
Great question. It's been lovely so far. As the best thing about it has been the connections I've made with a lot of the podcasters, including
Yeah,
yourself. We've had some great back and forths,
right.
got to know each other a little bit, and I'm
Yeah,
really excited to form lasting connections. I've got more books coming out, I got more
yeah,
projects, and I don't want to just like meet somebody and then, that's the end of it.
yeah,
So that's been amazing. And then other than that, it is scary. And the internet is, it's interesting. I had a talk. I was doing an inner child podcast, and then I was
yeah,
talking to this. It's all over my Instagram. This guy's name
yeah,
is Jesse Deal, really nice guy, and
yeah,
we were talking back and forth about inner child and vulnerability and putting ourselves out there.
yeah,
But what I was expressing was the internet really is a cesspool. There really are
yeah,
really nasty, vitriolic people out there who are just ready to tear into you, find your greatest vulnerabilities and exploit them and try to make you feel horrible.
yeah,
And I'm reading that, and I'll tell you, this is again a little bit back to the LGBT
yeah,
theme, and I am gay, so this
yeah,
is part of my experience.
of course.
I'm watching the posts from Elliot Page, the
Yeah,
actor who transitioned,
yeah,
and the comments
mm,
are abhorrent,
yeah,
nasty. Just like, I mean, you would think that if they were standing in the same room, they'd be spitting on this person or something. You know what I mean? But then
right.
you get the keyboard warrior thing. They really wouldn't, right? If they were really face
Hmm.
to face, they'd be a lot more polite and they'd be
Yeah,
afraid to make a scene. Maybe some people are
maybe.
really just off the wall.
Yeah,
And as I'm not talking, you know, right wing, left wing, or anything like that. That's
sure.
not my point. But my point
Right.
is, the internet, and for me to write a memoir, I've said it's like a vulnerability manual. If you really
Yeah,
wanted to mess with my head, you could just read that, and then,
yeah,
and so point being,
yeah,
it's real. It's real. It's putting yourself out there as a creative person
yeah,
is dangerous in a sense.
yeah,
Certainly emotionally dangerous.
yeah,
And doxing. I mean, can even be physically dangerous for some people. And
yeah,
again, I'm writing sci-fi and I'm writing this and that, so it's not
yeah.
that big a deal in a sense.
In a
But
sense,
then
yeah.
I just said that I was gay. Somebody who's homophobic might really take umbrage and start writing in our comments. Who knows?
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
but and at the same time, I'm a writer. So like I was
Yeah.
like, if you want to know me, read my books, right? And so I
Yeah.
didn't want to start doing my own video thing or be an influencer, whatever, this kind of thing. And I
Right.
was trying to figure out how to make this happen because I knew I did need to get my voice out there
Yeah.
and my face out there so people could know who the writer was. And so I did land on podcasts, and I did that, and very intentionally
Yeah.
I can have a conversation. I can, connect with somebody.
Yeah.
We ask each other questions. We vibe off each other, and that's what I want my readers to do too. Is to read my book and same thing, send me a message or
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, it's real. If you're out there and you're afraid to get out there, I hear you.
Yeah.
And it's not just imaginary. It's not just everything will be okay. It's just your fear talking.
Yeah.
That's not, that's toxic positivity a bit. So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I hear that. No, for sure. And there's a level to which, being prepared or just knowing that there may be some
Hmm.
real assholes out there, and we're
Hmm.
allowed to swear on this podcast, just so you know, if that's your kind of thing.
Awesome. Okay.
Probably should have started with that. But
No, you shouldn't have. No, there would be a whole different conversation. You don't want
yeah.
that.
um, but but I guess I have two kind of thoughts about that too, where like it is scary to put yourself out there. I can agree with that. Like, in the sort of voice acting realm, and I'm sure even in the writing realm, a lot of people when it comes to marketing, they're like, be a content creator, get on social media, put your face out there all the time, and that's the same stuff that scares me too. Like
Hmm.
it's just scary to think you could put yourself out there and there would just be people who are just really heinous, you know?
Hmm. Sure.
Um, But, at the same time, I have clients of mine, their podcast is That's So Macaroni. It's a history podcast. It's two gals kind of gabbing about history. It's a great time. It's a fun listen if you like history. And I think they bring something really fresh to the space of history podcasts. Regardless of the shameless plug, they started messaging me and they got some pretty nasty messages online. They did a special for Pride Month where they talked about gays in the military, in the United States military, and there were just people out there being nasty and rude, and being rude to, the podcasters, and they weren't quite sure how to handle it in that moment, and they were pretty hurt by it, but they just decided to keep going, and in a certain way it's like, these things are going to be scary and they're probably going to hurt. But at the same time, kind of like you were saying, these people, keyboard warriors, maybe thousands of miles away. And, who cares what they have to think if all they're going to do is spew vitriol, Sure. and they can be scary. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to look to them as a form of inspiration to be like, you know what? Even if someone is like, hey, Connor, you dumbass, get off the internet, I can just say, no, you. So,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. And I have two thoughts on that. The first one, just to add the caveat, like I've also met and seen some lovely, wonderful people and amazing comments, supportive.
Yeah.
Like a woman just rode from California to Hawaii. I think it took her 44 days. She broke all the records, men's and women's records. That ended up on my feed, so I'm like watching and everybody's like, go, 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 you can do it,
100%.
So, I mean, there's that too. So if you don't get out there, you miss that part too. Absolutely. There's a lot of support. There's a world of support that you can find. If you connect with the right people, connect with your people, because some people are going to like what we do. Some people are not. Yeah. And if you're touching on issues that are, in the mainstream, like LGBTQ or whatever, then it's going to be a bit more risky, right? But the other thing about do it anyway, I agree. And, those people, whatever, they're reflecting badly on themselves. However, I also talk a lot in Wounded Angels, my inner child book, about the physiological responses for me have been intense because I had some severe trauma when I was a kid. Right. So even if I intellectually know this guy's just being a jerk, he's just saying, and right now I'm looking at myself in the podcast and I know my nose is like bright red because I was out in the sun and I'm like, somebody's going to comment on your appearance, oh, well, what am I going to do? And if they did, I would know intellectually this person's just being a jerk or whatever. Yeah. But I would still feel physiological, like shame response, dread, maybe I shouldn't have done this. And it feels like crap. It hurts. Yeah. It's really rough. And there's a lot of people who have experienced trauma go through this. Yeah. And that's very real. Yeah. So it's important to acknowledge that, like, you're really feeling pain. Yeah. When people do this. And that's why they do it. Because I mean, if everybody could just let it go, people wouldn't have the power to do that kind of thing. Yeah. And so, just to validate the fact that, like, yes, I will persist, even if somebody comments about my appearance or the fact that I'm gay or whatever. Yeah. But I know, it's going to take some processing. Yeah. And that sort of thing. So that's important too. And not to sidetrack too much. Now we're getting into all kinds of different issues, but.
No, I hear it. And I appreciate it. I like meandering. I think that's a hallmark of a great conversation. That is such a salient point that you make. And that is so important, is to, like, acknowledge that, like, yes, it does actually hurt. And like, and that is real. And it makes me just think of this other quote, which is probably going to just really maybe be somewhat reductive, but like the idea of, like, I'm going to cry and I'm still going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, you can still, when it's hard, like you can still feel your feelings, acknowledge your feelings, and you can still persist. So,
definitely. Yeah. And the feeling fear doesn't have to stop you, but it doesn't mean you won't feel fear. Absolutely. Courage, bravery doesn't mean being fearless, because if you're actually fearless, then it's no problem.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. So I want to move on to some of our next questions. I'm really enjoying this conversation, but I do have a time limit. Okay. It's loose. But you know. Um, so my next question for you, kind of based a little bit on our earlier bit of our conversation, is what advice would you have for authors who are struggling to get their books read and out there and seen?
Um, Suck it up and go on podcasts.
Yeah.
Maybe is the, I don't know. I mean, that's just it. I am not someone who's talking from the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
I'm here to be seen and heard, and I'm trying to do what I can to
Yeah.
build a business by myself, and it ain't easy.
No.
And man, I mean, there's millions of books out there.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, and also something that I struggled with is not everybody has to like it. You just
Yeah.
have to find the people that are into what into what you're doing. And
Yeah.
that's not an easy thing, but just keep trying different things. I've had more success in the last few months. I've been really at it
Yeah.
since beginning 2025. I published Wounded Angels
Yeah.
in March 2025, so a little over a year ago, a
Yeah.
year and a few months, and kind of expected the world to buy it. Didn't
Yeah.
happen. Okay, so start working on the author platform, build up the Substacks and
Right.
whatnot. And I published Solarian Deep after that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm just trying whatever I can and also trying to do what fits my integrity, what fits what's good for me. I'm not a big social media guy. I'm not a post everyday guy.
Yeah.
I'm not into doing, I just, I post and I'm a patchwork quilt. If you look at my Instagram, there's drumming on there. There's
Yeah.
like a QR code for a free book, my free book. So go
Yeah.
check that on my Instagram
Absolutely.
and all that. So, and also, connect with everybody. That's another thing too. I would say, because that's what I'm looking to do. And I think a lot of writers feel kind of isolated
Yeah.
and then don't feel like they can reach out. But I'm looking to connect with writers too and see how we can support each other. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great answer. And I'm not biased at all as a guy who interviews authors.
Okay.
No, but I mean, truthfully, no, that's good advice. And definitely connecting is a huge key or a big piece of the puzzle towards being seen, and being seen is a part of connection too. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Shouting into the void is frustrating. The internet, I mean, and all the algorithms and all that stuff, I'm still trying to figure that stuff out.
Oh,
but
yeah. No, same.
we'll work it out together.
Same here. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's funny. I got a viral drumming video going. I played drums with a kid in Thailand. It's like a 30-second thing. I just handed my phone to somebody and said, make a video.
Yeah.
And we got like 500,000 views.
Yeah.
And it's like, watching that thing take off was crazy. It was like, oh wow, It's really rocketing up. I see how that goes now.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. But there's a lot of alchemy involved. I know some people know how to game the system to make that happen.
Right.
But I don't, it's more fun having an organic thing,
Absolutely.
Here's to making more viral moments like this.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a lot of fun to, as I was perusing your feed, like seeing those drum videos. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. But just seeing your other drum videos, I think it was one where you were like drumming with the kid, like taking turns drumming on his drum.
Yeah.
That's the one. It was a ton of fun to watch. That was definitely a blast. And yeah, and I think that just kind of in another way, maybe what I'm sort of drawing from it is like being able to like be you in the multiple ways that you are you. No one is like a monolith, right? Like you're not just a writer, you're also a musician, and there are multiple ways to connect through the things that you love. And so connecting with people is a great way to be seen and go farther. Well, I want to ask you some of our concluding questions here. So for those who want to learn more about you, hear more of your insights, read your books, where can folks go?
DavidDeanHaskell.com. So it's very simple, very easy, except make sure you spell my middle name with an E and you'll find me. And it's a little funny because there's another David Haskell out there, a writer. He's a biologist and Pulitzer Prize winning writer. So if you Google David Haskell, you won't find me. So I'm always going by my full name, David Dean Haskell, and DavidDeanHaskell.com. You can get Emergence for free. That's my fourth book and a book I'm very proud of and I love. Yeah. And that's where to find me. And you can get my Substack stuff there and everything else.
Great. And folks, we will have links in the episode notes. So if you want to go over to daviddeanhaskell.com, check out the episode notes, click the link. And then I guess my next question for you is, what's next for you? Any events you're attending or new books on the horizon?
Events wise, I'm just sort of on the podcast circuit. So I'll be doing a lot of conversations, both nonfiction and fiction.
Awesome.
And probably meandering like we did today, like a little bit of everything, right?
Absolutely.
So that's going on. And The Vibrance is the big sci-fi that's coming out in a few months. I haven't quite got a publishing date yet, but that's going to be my 6th sci-fi book, and that's the first of a series about human AI creativity in the age of AI sentience. It's pretty crazy, and I think I might be predicting the future. We'll see.
We'll see. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's exciting. And when The Vibrance is going to hit the shelves, please come back. I'd love to talk to you about it.
Thank you.
So,
I definitely would love to.
Great. Perfect. I just want to make sure that I invite you because you are invited. Of course. So now, David, I want to end with some of my fun questions. We have 2 segments here for you. We have a rapid fire segment where you just have to answer the question. I'm going to give you kind of a this or that, and you get to choose. And then we'll have a more creative question after that. Are you ready for the rapid fire questions?
Yep. Let's go.
Okay. The Fifth Element or Blade Runner?
Fifth Element.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Matched grip or traditional grip?
The drumming. Match grip for beginners, traditional grip for when you get better.
Great. Giant squid or blue whale?
Blue whale.
Blue whale. Tuk-tuk or rickshaw?
The tuk-tuks, I rode those a lot last year in Southeast Asia. I've never been in a rickshaw because they're too expensive here in Tokyo. So I'm going to say tuk-tuk.
Great. Extraterrestrials or subterraneans?
ETs.
All right. Great. Well, with that ends the rapid fire segment. And now for our final question, the hard-hitting ones. If you could take one fictional character to one real-world location, who would you choose and where would you take them?
This is my books or any fictional character ever?
Any fictional character, could be your books, whatever you like.
I'm going to say this, and this is going to the inner child stuff. If you read my book, Wounded Angels. When I was a kid, I used to want to believe in Superman so that he would come and kick the shit out of my enemies that were bullying me.
Yeah.
So, a superhero friend would be kind of cool. And actually, Callistia is the main character. Actually, Callistia and Kyle are the 2 main characters in the Solarian Deep. Yeah. They've got some superhero tendencies as well, but they don't really do so well on the land. So I think we'd have to stick to the oceans for them.
Great. And I guess just to push it one little bit further, so if you could take them anywhere in the real world, where would you take them?
As we were talking about, again, my characters are always struggling, I think, and just as I have and still struggle. And I think it's like I'm very protective. And so, I would take Callistia to my house and Kyle too, and hang out with them and like reassure them that the people that are, messing them up and trying to destroy their lives are not okay, are not healthy, are not the authority figures that should be in charge. I think, exactly that. Where would I take them? I would take them someplace safe.
That's a really beautiful answer. I like that. Well, David, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I've had a really great time talking with you. I'm really excited to perform a couple chapters, a chapter of the Solarian Deep, and I'm really excited to show you what we're able to come up with.
I'm so excited for that too, Connor. Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
It's been great. Thank you so much. And listeners, until next we turn the page, toodaloo. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as I did. David, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really had a great time interviewing with you. I'm super excited to get those chapter reads out and to you. Production is going just fine. So, folks, keep an eye out for those episodes in the next coming weeks. And yeah, go check out the episode notes and see what David Dean Haskell is writing, see what he's up to, and yeah. Hey there, folks, it's Connor, just here to interrupt myself real quick and let you know, if you are seeing this right now, that means The Men of the Mountain audiobook, written by Drew Harrison, performed by me, is on the digital shelves on Audible right now. It is getting some awesome reviews. Drew and I are over the moon with how people are responding to it. We still have a few more review codes, so if you're looking to get your hands on a free copy in exchange for a review, go ahead, check out the link in the episode notes, and you will find the Google Forms that you can fill out and see if you can get a review copy. So again, Men of the Mountain, out now. It's really awesome. I'm super proud of it, and I really hope you check it out. Purchasing the book helps Drew and me, so yeah, what are you waiting for? So again, thank you, listener, for stopping by. David Dean Haskell, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's a real joy to talk. I'm really glad we have connected. And yeah, I look forward to talking with you again soon. Until next we turn the page, toodaloo. This has been Connor Reads Books. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you have, please share and leave a review. Feel free to check out my social medias at @LConnorVoice. Links in the episode notes. A big thank you to Louis Sanders, the producer of the Connor Reads Books theme song. Until next we turn the page, toodaloo.